Okay, I think it's a time to start now. So yes, so I hope you can see the title of this webinar. This is TRIOS Essentials, Part 1, getting started with TRIOS intraoral scanning. Yes, my name is Bartek Bernat. I'm the second line support consultant for Dental Access. And I'm going to tell you a bit about myself, and then of course we're gonna get to the point. So you see the agenda for this webinar shortly. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about myself. I was working for the free ship company from more or less 2010 to 2016-ish, as you can see here. So I was the first person that was assigned for the TRIOS project, and then I was doing first line support, second line support, and eventually third line support in the free ship. This is my team here on the right. And on the left, you could see there was one of the early testing station for the very early TRIOS 1 and 2 pod systems. And also a bit of an overview of the old system, how it was looking years ago. So yeah, I'm the dental technician. I'm also the IT engineer. I graduated in Denmark for my bachelor in IT. Now I moved to, about 5 years ago, I moved to New Zealand. So I'm talking for you from lovely place near Lake Taupo. Okay, so let's get started with the agenda we have for today. Okay, so those are the subjects I would like to cover with you. So the plan is, I'm just going to show you some of the information here on the slides. I'm also going to switch sometimes to the TRIOS application and do some other things for you, showing you things around, because I believe you like to get as much information as you can about the TRIOS system, how to get started with it, how to implement it in your practice. Possibly you may have already your system there and you just looking for a good start. So as the agenda says, first we're gonna try to show you how you can implement your intraoral scanning workflow in your practice, and then how to set up new orders, navigate through the order form. Then I'm going to show you the proper scanning workflow and some strategies. Some more details about order form, and also very important calibrations. This is something that is very often overlooked. Then I'd like to cover tips and tricks to obtain a perfect scan. Then talk a bit more about connection with the lab and integration with the communicate system. And the last thing is going to be how to manage some scan data, export files, copying, scan, resending scans, things like that, which is quite useful and also causing a bit of a problems for the new users. So yeah, let's get to it with the first section here, which is the intraoral scanning workflow. Okay, I hope you can see my cursor here. So basically on the top here, you have a full workflow of the TRIOS scanning. Every order starts from the order sheet, which is over here. Then you have a scanning phase. This is when you do the scanning, usually lower, upper, and the bite. And then there's the analyze phase here. And then now with the new extra application that FreeShape has added, you can also segment the teeth and do some more analysis, also some simulation for the perfect smile. Mind, those sections here are entirely optional. You don't have to do it. You can turn it off and on to your liking. So once it's all done, this analyze phase here, you are sending your order. So this is how it looks like. Here I have an example down there, how it looks like with the scan only and the normal anatomy scan, for example, for the simple preparation for the crown. So basically this scanning phase has been expanded to the lower, upper, and the bite. Right, as you can see here in this workflow, there's no special extra analysis, just a normal one which comes by default, and the scan and the sending phase as well. If you would like to add something special, like for example, pre-preparation scan, which is over here, then of course, the number of your scans can expand. So let's say you have added some pre-preparation to your lower jaw, then first your scan is going to be lower jaw as it is before you do the preparation. Then it's going to be your prepared tooth in the lower jaw, then upper jaw, and the bite. Of course, if you have your preparation in the upper jaw, this sequence is going to change accordingly. Yeah, so this is the full example here. You can see at the very bottom how it looks like when all of the scans are in. Because basically after you do each of the segment, after you scanning lower, after you scanning upper, the bite, after you complete the scan, you have this green check mark, and then it means it is completed and you are ready for the next phase. So basically here at the bottom, you will see the situation for the order that actually have been put in. Go to lower scan, upper scan, bite scan, and basically it means at this stage, it is ready to send, because those parts here are entirely optional. You can do it, but you don't have to. Okay. Also, you can note that there's a color difference. So over here, you see those parts are grayed out. It means they are not accessible just yet. And over here, they are in full color. It means you can jump now freely to the even last phase and send the order because it's entirely ready to be sent. Okay. So I'm just going to cover that in detail once I'm going to show you some scanning, because now the next topic here is showing you the intraoral scanning workflow or strategy of the scan. So basically, there are two strategies accordingly if you scan lower jaw or upper jaw. So for the lower jaw, we always starting your scan occlusally. Then we go to the canine section more or less, and then we start wiggling movements. I'm going to show you that in a second. And then once you cover this part, wiggling, then you continue occlusally. Then you reach the last molar. And then you need to cover the lingual part over here. Yes, and then, sorry, I switch the slide. And then you cover it entirely, and then you go on the buccal side around. This is how you complete lower jaw scan. The upper jaw scan, it's very similar. You always start on the biggest and more prominent molar here. I mean, each side, any side will do here. Then you continue occlusally, going through the canine, starting wiggling movement that I'm going to show you in a second. Then once you reach the end of the arch, you go buccally this time, and then you go lingually or palatally. And you can see here, optionally, if you want to scan for the palatal, you can also add some palatal scan. This is this arrow that is slightly different color. So this is optional part if you want to cover this. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to switch now to the actual TRIOS and do some scanning. Okay, so we have our TRIOS system here ready. I have my scanner here ready. So let's just do new case. I'm going to go with you through all of the steps. So basically, you have two options here. You can either start from making adding new patient, put the patient data, or just start from the new case. It's up to you. So either way, you need to have some patient assigned to the case. So let's say we're just going to start with the case. Okay, then we need to choose our lab where we're going to send to. This topic is going to be covered later on, so don't worry. But for now, I'm just going to choose my lab here. So this is our order sheet. As you can see here, we are at this first phase over here. No other phases are currently available because we are not yet there. So yeah. I'm going to scan for now. For the first scan, I'm going to scan, do the scan only. It means I'm going to scan the full jaw. And later on, we'll try some crown scan. So at this point, I'm going to choose scan only. And I need to add some patient. So I'm going to put this section here and add some patient. Okay, let's name the patient here. And you can select some date of birth if you want. This is all optional. So, yep. Okay, and all this information here are optional. What you really need to put here is the patient's surname. And of course, first name will be good, but last name is mandatory part of it. So we're going to say the patient here. Okay, and now as you can see, there's some more more exclamation mark here. This is the delivery date is also needed once we're going to send the scan, and the system is going to complain about it if you don't put it here. So let's just put it. Let's just give us some 2 solid weeks for the lab to do that. So yeah, 29th. Okay, so as you can see, once I have made some choices here, I select scan only, I have my patient in, I have my date in. Now the whole workflow has opened. So now I can go to the next phase, which is scanning. Let's do some scanning. So it's very nice now. FreeShape has included those pictures that you saw a moment ago about the strategies. It's very easy to access. You just need to click this arrow, and this is exactly how we're going to scan our lower jaw. I have my model here. So let me just do the scanning. I have my scanner. So I'm just going to show you the actual and one and only good scanning scanning strategies. So I'm starting closely, going to more or less to the canine. Now it's very important. I need to do this wiggling movement. So I'm going to cover a bit of the lingual and a bit of the vocal at the same time. This is very important. So please do not skip this part. Once you reach the other canine, you can just continue here occlusally. Once you're done with that, we're just going to go lingually because this is a lower jaw scan. Okay. Once we're going to cover that, you're going to switch to the vocal scan. This is a bit of the tricky part because you need to maneuver the scanner to the other side. Okay, so this is the a strategy which FreeShape expects you to use, and please use that because you may have similar results using some other strategies, but only this one guarantees your result every time. Okay, so this is our lower jaw scan. And as you can see here, I have not managed to scan it perfectly, and this is a bit on purpose. Those parts that are marked green are marked for a reason. So there's not much information there and has been patched. So those surfaces here are a bit artificial. So, and of course, if it's going to be simple scan for the simple thing, you may not need those surfaces, but anytime you can hover your scanner over the part that you're missing and cover all of the missing parts. So the green patch is going to vanish. And then it means that you have what you need to scan. Okay, I'm not going to cover everything here, just the purpose of the demonstration. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to scan the upper jaw. And now the situation is very similar. We're going to scan again occlusally, starting occlusally. Let me show you this strategy again so you'll see that. I'm going to start scanning occlusally, then I'm going to do this very important wiggling movements, and then I'm going to go buccally and then palatally. So let's just get started. Okay. Now, very, very important movement. So you need to cover a bit of this side and a bit of this side. Those are those wiggling movements. Okay, once you reach the canine, you could go closely the end of the arch. Then you go buccally here. And then palatally. Okay. So this is the expected workflow. So basically at the end of that, of course, there's a bite scan. So I can just show you that as well. So once we cover this, we need to make sure, and it's very important to make sure that you cover enough of the soft tissue on each side because it can influence your actual bite. So what I would do is actually do a bit more scanning of this section here because I have not covered enough soft tissue to have a full coverage for the bite. It's just going to make your bite way easier if you cover a bit more of the soft tissue here. Okay, good. So yep. Again, there are some parts that I've missed. So if your scan actually requires those parts, you can always rescan those areas. I'm not going to do it just now. Okay. Good. So now we are switching into the bite scan. So basically, doing the bite in the TRIOS is quite easy. First, you ask the patient to open up the jaw. Then you put the tip in, and then ask him to bite. And then you just cover from the one side, and then from the other side, and then system should align this for you. So we should have some hints here. Yep, this is exactly what's going to look like. So I'm going to put my models in the occlusion here and start scanning from one side first and then on the other side here. Okay, so just start from maybe from this side over here. Good. Okay, so here, as you can see, we have some problems with one of the bite. It can happen. It says alignment fail, but it will then it's actually very good because we can test the new alignment process. So basically what we're going to do is to align the jaw accordingly how it should be. So it's more or less here. This is the part that we scanned, and this is the part that we scanned, and now it should do it with this little help. Yep. It's done. So basically, it's okay for some cases to have a 1 byte only, but for the full gist scan, we advise you to have 2 bytes scan. Okay, so this is where we stop right now, and I'm gonna now switch back to my presentation and move on. Yes, okay, good. Let's see if you can see what. Yeah, good. So those were our workflows. Now I'm going to cover a bit more about order and order form. So once you've been seeing me choosing some stuff, I was choosing scan only. You of course have more options here, and the basic rule is that you need to choose your indication, and then you choose your material, and then choose your shade. This scanner normally can read shade based on the scan itself. However, you need to do it a bit more manually, pointing the actual area that you want to read the shade. So basically, lab would like you to either choose the shade from the list or do this shade measurement a bit manually. So basically, you need to do at least one thing. Otherwise, lab's going to call you asking for the actual shade. So yeah, this is the order form. And I'm just going to show you this in detail in a moment, but we're going to switch one more slide. So this is the part that is on the right of your order form. So you saw me choosing some patient here. This is mandatory part. You also saw me choosing some date here. This is a mandatory part as well, because it's going to be requested at the end of the scan. And I mentioned also you could choose some pre-preparation. So if you press this button, then this is going to be enabled, and then you're going to have one more scan for lower or for upper jaw. This part turns on the option to have some intraoral camera in your workflow. It's entirely optional. So if you want to add some live video to your order, you could do that. The other stuff here, which is very important in this section, which I have now expanded to this right side, you can write some comments and put some attachments. So if you, for example, have a picture of the patient done with some mobile phone or camera, you could attach it using this plus button. They're just going to open up normal browser. You could add those pictures, or as very, very commonly used, this part, you could add some information that you may not find on your lab sheet, or stuff that are very lab specific. For example, some names for the actual material that lab is using, which are not on the list, because on the list we have only, for example, monolithic zirconia. So there's actually nothing more. So if you know the name of the actual zirconia that you want to have, you can add this in the comment section. Okay. So let's just get to it. I'm going to switch again to my TRIOS system and then show you the order form in detail. Okay. And yes, we're still here in byte. We're just going to leave it for a while and start one more order with the, and I'm going to put some detail into the order sheet. You probably noticed that once I was leaving this order, it was asking me to do the post-processing or not. This is a training order, so I skip it, but normally this is part of the process. So let's just make a new case again. Okay, I'm going to choose my lab again. And I'm going to cover in more details the actual order form. So yeah, this is how this is when you choose your indications. So I'm going to choose something which I have on my model. So that's going to be 25. So yeah, so once you click on that, you will notice that it has this blue outline. This is what this is your choice here. And now all of the stuff that you choose from this side is going to apply to this too. Basically, if you want to make a crown, it needs to be marked. It is marked. And then you choose anatomy. It's going to expand the some money. And now we need to choose the type of the indication. It's going to be the crown, pontic, inlay, onlay, veneer. So let's say it's crown. Okay. Now you're going to choose some materials. This is your list, right? So as I said, if you have something specific for the lab, you could choose the closest one, for example, zirconia monolithic, and put some more details in the comment section on the right. So I'm going to choose something here. And now shade choices opens up. So this is the shade choices. Of course, this is Vita 1. So if you want to use some other system in the options, you could do that. Then this menu will change accordingly. So I'll just say we're going to have like 8 here. So as you can see here, for the crown 25, which now is marked brown, we have these choices of crown, zirconia, monolithic, and A3. You can also view how a lab's going to actually see this order with this view button. So this is what they're going to eventually have. Probably pop up on the other screen here. Okay, I will share this as well for you. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is what the lab should see, right? So this is what they're going to have: patient name, all the chart, and what is exactly they need to do. Okay, let me go back to the TRIOS. Good. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right thing with you. Okay. Yes. Good. Okay, so let's just now assume we have something more sophisticated, a crown, just for practice. So let's say we want to have a bridge that spans from 24, 25 to 26. So basically, we need to have here crown, and here the pontic, right? So I'm going to start from scratch. So it's a nice button to clear everything. I'm going to use that. Okay. Good. I'm going to delete this. Okay. And now I'm going to make some bridge here. So I'm going to choose first two crowns, 24 and 26. And you can see here that those teeth are actually marked, only those ones, 24 and 26. So once I have those marked, I'm going to choose crowns for them. Yep. I'm going to choose zirconia monolithic as well, and some shade, for example, 8-3 as well. So now we have this sorted, but our bridge is not yet done. We need to put the pontic. So now is a very important part, which is very often overlooked. You need to click elsewhere to have this outline gone, and now mark your actual pontic. It's going to be outlined right now. Okay, and now choose the pontic for this choice. Okay, now you choose the same material, obviously, same color. And one more step for the bridge, you need to mark them all. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now say bridge, and yeah, just a bridge. Okay, the other bridge is for implants, so you don't need that. So this is actually the right choice if you want to have a bridge here in the TRIOS. Okay, good. So let's just delete that. Okay, so there's some other choices here that I'm going to cover in the more advanced sections. So we're going to do some implants, we're going to do some other stuff. So basically, probably what you need is the scan only, which is just a scan if you want to scan for any auto appliances. And then you're probably going to use quite a lot anatomy and the bridging options. So yeah, there are some special, of course, options if you do some dentures, if you do some appliances, if you want to planning for some implants and smile designer and other stuff. But those are the topics for the other session here. So let me just go back to the to my presentation so we can move on. Okay, good. So we have covered that. This is a mandatory and optional part of the order form. Now we're going to go to the very important topic of the calibration. So basically, your TRIOS scanner is the optomechanical device that needs from time to time to be calibrated. So basically, you are using those special attachments here. And once you have the scanner connected and go to the more settings, TRIOS and scanner management, you will see those options. However, your scanner needs to be calibrated every week. So you are going to be prompted every week to do so. So we don't have to search for this option. You're just going to have a prompt to do so. And I strongly advise you not to skip that because it's very fast and that's going to improve your scanning experience. So we have here essentially two types of the calibration. First type of the calibration is done with this special attachment that looks like a barrel. And then I have it here actually, so I can show you that. This is that. And then you put it on top of your scanner to do the calibration for the actual 3D scanning. So it goes on your scanner like that. Okay, and then you're ready to calibrate it. So basically, you are prompted to do so every week. And then it takes very, very little time. So please do that. And please also do that if you feel like that your scanner is slowing down after maybe third or fourth day of very intensive scanning. Your scanner may go with this down with the speed a bit. So it's a very good idea to do the 3D calibration to get this speed again. The other calibration is for color. As I mentioned, this scanner can read color shade from your teeth, and then in order to do that, needs to be calibrated with the special calibration kit. I have it here on the screen. You can see this here as well on the right. And basically, it is two-step calibration. First, you need to put some attachment on the scanner, which I have here as well. So this is this attachment, and then you slide into that the actual calibration object. It has two sides, side A and side B. Side A is to get the actual color, and the side B is for some gray light distribution. It's quite technical, so I'm not gonna cover more about that. Just to give you some tip that your actual tips can get a bit dirty with the time, and then the side B test is very good test for testing those tips because you do this calibration through your actual tip that you're going to use for scanning. Okay, so let me just move to maybe to the other slide that you see the tips. So this is the actual tips that you use. So those are the tips for the scanning, and those are the actual protection tips. So let's just move back a bit here. So one more thing I'd like to cover. On top of those calibrations here, you have also something that is called scanner self-diagnosis, and you're also going to be prompted every week to do so. And please also don't skip this as well. It's very fast. It takes about 15 seconds and it's done. So basically every week you need to do the 3 steps. Calibration takes about 30 seconds. Color calibrate, maybe a minute maximum. And then scanner self-diagnosis takes about 15 seconds. This is what needs to be done every week. Okay, if you don't want to use the shade measurement, you can actually disable that. you see there's an option here to actually enable or disable this feature. It means basically that you don't have to color calibrate your scanner if you don't use this feature, so you can save some time. Okay, so we're going to go back to the scanning tips. So scanner is using autoclavable tips, like so here, right? In this tip has a mirror, so you can see here. So this is the actual tip that you're going to put in a patient mouth, obviously. And this one can be either autoclave or called sterilized. It's up to you. FreeShape says that it should last for at least 50 cycles or more if you take care about them. So taking care about your tips is basically not exceeding temperature of the time for it to spend in the autoclave, and also making sure you not drop it or crush it or something like that. So and also if you decide to cold sterilize your tips, it may last even longer, because then the tip is not subjected to the temperature changes, and then that's for sure gonna last more. So it's up to you how long your tip is gonna last. The other type of the tip is the protection tip that you can see on the right. This is the tip that you need to put on your scanner whenever scanner is not in use. So if you move your device around, if you're not about to scan, if you're just sitting and waiting, put that protection calibration, put the protection tip on. So try to avoid situation that the scanner is like that with just a scanning head, because this is a very fragile part. Okay. And I have few advices here for you. So basically, this tip is obviously not for scanning, so you cannot scan with that. It has some kind of the glass ball inside, so it's not possible to scan with that. However, people do try. And please do not autoclave that. If it comes in contact with the patient's saliva somehow, you can wipe it or cold sterilize it, but do not autoclave that. It's made entirely of the plastic that will not survive that, and that you need to replace it. So yeah. Okay, so once you saw some scanning myself, just a bit of it, I have a few tips and tricks about that. So basically, we strongly advise you to refer to some tutorials and gain some experience on that. There's plenty of the materials on the YouTube, on the webinars like that, so you can get some information and practice also on your own. Once you practice, it's very important to start from the first molar, so somewhere here, to get the good start. If you start from the from some place that doesn't have a prominent feature, that probably is going to be very hard to continue. So that's why it's very important to start scanning when you have a scanner in the patient mouth, not on the way to it, right? Because you may accidentally start your scanning from the inner part of the lip or tongue, which probably is not going to be good. So then, of course, it's good to stop scanning, start over, clear it, start over again. Very important, if you are scanning for the actual preparation, is to have a proper gingiva retraction strategy. Use a cord if you can. Use a lot of air. So this is the next point here. Very important is to have the teeth dry. So basically, scanner can go through some surface of the saliva, but you may have your image distorted, so it's going to be quite slow. So it's always advisable to dry the teeth, even if you need to stop your scanning for a few seconds, put the scanner to the holder, use some air, and dry the teeth. So the most problem we have with the scanning experience is that dentists are trying to scan the teeth that are full of saliva. So the other point is to make sure that the mirror of the tip is not foggy. Scanner has built-in heater, So this part of the scanner over here is going to heat. You may feel it is actually warm. So basically, once you start your scanning, put the tip on and then let it sit for a while, about 20-30 seconds. Don't scan immediately because you need to have time to have this surface to heat up a bit so you can avoid fogging. So if you have very heavy fogging, it's almost impossible to scan anything. Okay. Very important part is also to move the scanner in the steady pace. Try to avoid jerky movements, and then you're going to have stable results. So moving a scanner in a steady pace is even more important than moving fast for a start. Okay. Keep lips, cheeks, and tongue out of scanner because if you see that, this is what scanner is going to scan. So basically, if your prep is actually covered with the tongue, it's impossible to get any details out. So you can use the scanner tip itself, try to wedge your way through the stuff that are on the way, and you can use some mirror, you can use even your finger to actually get what you want into the view. And one more tip, because some people think that the patient mouth needs to be wide open. It doesn't have to be, because it actually can stretch the lips so far it's going to be impossible to get some incisors area over here. So sometimes it's okay to let the patient to actually relax a bit, close a bit for the easier scanning. And the last thing here is a bite scan. You just need to do it properly. So a few seconds is enough. As you saw probably in my case, I probably moved my models in my hands a bit. That's why it was taking too long, because normally that is a bit too long. Normally you should need about 2 to 5 seconds maximum. If your bite cannot align together after probably 5, 8, maybe 10 seconds, it means patient actually moved the jaw. So it's okay to stop, clear this section and start over. Okay. Okay, so we have a bit more tips and tricks here. So if the scanner gives you a bit bad results, scanning slowly or not getting image, first of all, I would like to emphasize again to follow the scanning strategy. It's very important. So it's going to guarantee the results for you. The next thing is, it's usually, if you fall into problems, it's usually better to retake the scan from the scratch than try to fix it. Okay, especially when you see some surfaces are spreading a bit and it's something that does not exist in the real world. So it's probably better to delete it, clear it, and start over again. If the scan is getting slow, especially after a very hard day of work, it's a good idea to do the 3D calibration, even if you're not prompted to do so. So go to the location that I pointed over there. I will show you that in a second. Yeah, location here, more settings, TRIOS and scanner management, and then do your calibration. Okay. Yes. If you are aiming for the good colors, the colors that you would like to read some values from the teeth, it's very important that you don't point the strong light of the dental chair direct into the mouth, because scanner has its own light. And then if you try to use your light as well, pointing into the subject, there's going to be very weird colors. It may even lead to the improper shade measurement. Also important, if you have problems with the scanning, to check the actual mirror quality. So basically you can just look through the tip and see if the mirror is clean and it has no kind of debris or haze. Very common thing is if you autoclave your tips with your tools, dental tools, sometimes the oil that is in the tools can go into the mirrors here. It's going to make it very, very hazy. So those tips probably you need to clean with some IPA or some cotton swab just to have a crystal clear image. Okay. Okay, so Now I'm going to show you something about the actual communication with the lab, how to establish that. So we are in luck because now FreeShape introduced it. It's all possible through the TRIOS system. You don't even have to use browser anymore on the external PC. So everything can be done from the actual interface. So yeah. And basically the process is that you first looking for your connection. Then the system is sending some information to the lab. It needs to be confirmed, accepted by them, and then you can try to send them orders. So let's just do it quickly. I will show you how to do that. Okay, let me switch to my system here. Okay, good. So I'm going to go back here to my options. Okay, then I'm going to go to the settings. And to establish connection with the lab, all you need to do is go to the More, Settings, and then Connections. Go to the lab section. And now I'm just going to connect to one lab I have established for this presentation. So we're just going to go to the connection, go Add, and do the search. So I just want to connect to my lab that I know the email of. So, but just in case you only know the name of the lab, you could also do the search, but bear in mind that if it's a very popular name like Smile something, it may give you thousands of results. So it's better, always better to have the actual email they are using. So I have established some email here for testing. Okay, this is where I'm going to connect. Okay, as you can see here, there's only one result, which is my test lab over here. So we're just going to send some invitation. Yes, and now as you can see here, this lab is now in the state that is waiting, and this kind of request is waiting for the lab's approval. So once they're going to approve it, they're going to have an email, and they need to click on the link, and it's all done. And then you will see it on your list of your labs, and then you can send the cases to them. So it's all now possible in the TRIOS interface. However, some more features are on the actual portal. So if you need to access them, you need to go here, but the simple connection can be done from here. Okay, let me just go back to the presentation again. Okay, so as I mentioned here, the actual address for the portal, if you need to access that, is portal freeshapecommunicate.com. Okay, so we're just going to cover some more things what you can do with your scan. So once you do the scan, you need to be aware that your data, your raw data, are retained in the system for a certain period of time. So basically, after 45 days, if your scan has been sent to the lab, then all the raw information, in case you want to do something else with the order, do some changes, kind of a bit more for this patient, it's going to be actually deleted, right? So you have 45 days to make any changes, to copy the scan, to send it elsewhere, for example, to the different lab. If your scan has not been yet sent anywhere, you have 90 days to do so. Okay, so it's very important because very often we're having the calls from the clinics that want to send the case or reuse the case, but it's just too old because they have sent it more than 4 to 5 days ago, and now they can see it, but you cannot modify it anymore. So basically, we, in this case, advise anytime to have a patient for the scan again, because as you probably do know, after 45 or 90 days, teeth can actually move, and then your scan may not be relevant anymore. So if you want to, for some reason, retain this scan for longer than 45 or 90 days, let's say retain, without any limits, you can right-click on the order and choose this option, Protect from Cleanup. It is going to make the scan on your system sitting forever, waiting for you. However, I would strongly advise you not to overuse this option because it eats a lot of your storage in your system because it's keeping all the raw data in your system all the time. So for the scan that you need to retain for some reason, please do not forget to protect it from cleanup, mark it over here so it's not gone after 45 or 90 days respectively. The other thing you can do with your scan, if you right click on it, you can copy that. So there's a reason you need to copy your scan. For example, if you want to send it to the other lab, you change your mind, and then so basically you need to copy and then send it elsewhere. If you need to do some changes to the scan, let's say lab actually complained that we have left some, let's say, unscanned sections, some holes, and you have patient back, you just want to scan just a bit to cover those missing areas. You don't want to scan it from the scratch again. It is possible, but then you need to copy your scan first and then reuse this information. There is a very misleading button, which is called resend here. That's going to be at the end of the scanning workflow. This is very often misunderstood because if you want to do any changes to the scan, you first need to copy that. Because if you try to do changes to your order and just use this resend button, it will still send the order as it was before. It won't accept any changes. So if you want to change a lab, if you want to do any changes to the order, first copy it. Right? Then once you copy it, you're going to have a copy of it, and then you can work on a copy. So basically, yeah, this is how it works. And the other stuff you can do with your scan, and in the same option here, once you right click, is to export your scan. So basically, this is if you want to have a hard copy, if you want to have a scans in your STL format. So just to send it, maybe let's say traditionally via email or even on the pen drive, taken out from the system, you could do that. So then right click on the scan, choose export, and then you can see two options here. One is export scan, one is export free OXZ. So what is that? So basically, if you want to have your STLs, just plain data, you choose scans. I'm going to cover it on the next slide. And if you want to just have a scan in the one big package, for the lab that is using FreeShape dental system, you could choose the other option here, FreeOXZ. This is all scan with all of your details, with all of your annotations, with all of your comments. Everything you put into the system is going to be there. Here, those are only surface scan, no more information than that. Okay. So the next slide is going to cover this. So once you choose export scans, it's just going to open the normal Windows browser for your files. And then you need to actually decide in which format you want to have a scan in. So basically at this point, I would assume that you want to have a scan in a STL format because it's very versatile. It's also the oldest. It does not contain any color information. So they're just going to be surface as you scan a 3D object. So basically you need to choose from this drop down, save as a type, STL. It's very important, right? And then put some name, place it anywhere in your system so you can copy it, send it, email it, whatever you want. If you want to have a scanner scans in the color, you can choose the new format, which is called PLY. This is a bit more or less, this is a bit less compatible. However, it will carry the color. So if your lab or the other party has a can read PLYs, you could do that. DCM is again, this is a FreeShape format. So if you have a lab that is working with the FreeShape system and for some reason you would like to send them scans in this way, you could do that. And of course, DCM is carrying the color just fine. But remember, those, what you are exporting, this is not the whole order. Those are the scans, lower, upper, and the byte. Okay. So if we are in a subject of managing scan data, I'm going to show you one more thing here. So that's going to be the offer from the Dental Access. So if you are scanning a lot, if you want to actually have some place to store your data, can be anything, can be your scans, can be your orders, can be your DICOM files, anything you want to store in a cloud, you could do that. So we have now a new Xflow option. So it will actually connect seamlessly to your TRIOS system as yet another lab. So you could just send it like normally sending to your lab. And then we're just going to store it for you in the portal. You have access 24 hours. And then we have some data plans you could use and pick the plan that is suitable for you. Okay, so this is the offer that we have just enabled a few days ago. So it's ready for you when you need it. So contact our sales and we can tell you how to get that. Okay, so I think that's a time for some questions. So I will now like to take a look at the question and answer to see if it's anything. Good. So if there are no questions, I hope you enjoyed this little presentation about TRIOS possibilities. There's way more. There's way more to cover, of course, as well. So you are very welcome for the second part that I'm going to cover a bit more sophisticated scans, like implant scanning, and also going to cover some think about the application that you have in your dental desktop TRIOS system you could use to enhance your or excite your patient experience in your clinic. So this is more or less all I have for you today. Okay, and best of luck with your new system. Thank you.